Troubleshooting RHEL Linux boot. For troubleshooting, we have a small problem like we forgot the password of root. So what we can do, we can reset the password. For reset the password, we cannot recover it. Remember, we cannot recover it. Even if you see the password hash, you cannot recover the password, because hash you cannot reverse, and it stores the password in hash. So for recovering the, or for resetting the password, what we do, we restart the system, and at the booting time, when it shows the boot menu, we stop the timer, and then we press the E button to edit the boot menu, edit the kernel option, and in the kernel line, Linux 16, we go to the end of the line and we add this rd.break option. Then we press Ctrl X to start with that option. And it will do what? It will break the boot process at the time when our main system is mounted under a sysroot file system. The initial ramfs is mounted, and on that initial ramfs, our main file system is mounted under sysroot directory. At that time, it will break the process, boot process, and then what we can do, and it will give you the root access without any password and anything. Now at that time, what we do, we first remount the the system by using mount command, by remount and read write option, because by default it mounts it in read only option, so we cannot edit it. So first we remount it, and then after remounting we do this chroot command to change the file system. That means it will load our main system into our machine, and then we can reset the password for root. And then what we can, after resetting the password, we need to update the file auto relabel. If you don't do this, then your machine will not start. Basically, it will not start. It will take lots of time, and maybe it will not start, because it has to be updated. The SLinux has to be SLinux has to be updated, the labels of the files, mostly this, including this shadow file which includes the passwords. Now after doing that, we can exit 2 times, and when we exit it, then machine will reboot. SLinux will perform the full relabeling, and then your machine will start, and now you can log in with your normal password which you have changed. So we can see that it is very easy way to change the password. Now when we say it is very easy, then where is the security? So where is the security? That means anyone can change the password by doing this very easy process. So what we have thought that the Linux is very secure operating system, but it is very easy here to crack the password. So what we have security here. What we do here, we can assign password on grub. Now assign password on grub means, we can assign password on grub means whenever anyone try to edit kernel options, then it will ask the password. This the password root password resetting is possible because grub is allowing us to reset the password. Grub is allowing us to edit the options of kernel. So if grub does not allow anyone to edit, then what? It will be secure. That means if anyone tries to edit anything, if anyone tries to edit the kernel option and try to add rd.break, then it will ask the password. And if it is, if you don't want to update, if you don't want to edit the kernel, then it will not ask the password. You can restart the system. You can start the system normally. If we don't want anyone to edit the kernel parameters, to break the password of root or to do any other changes, then what, simply we can assign password on grub, And after assigning the password on grub, then what happened? If you want to start it normally, then you can just select the kernel from the menu entry and then press enter, it will start. But if you press E from the kernel menu entry, then it will ask password. Now how we can do this? How we can configure the password? So we have different steps to configure the password. We have actually two steps. We can directly configure it in the templates of the kernel configuration, templates of the grub configurations, or now in RHEL 7 we have a command also. We have a command also to set the password for grub. I will show you both. Like if you want to configure first, if you want to configure it into the templates of grub configurations. So for adding password on grub, what we can do, we can edit the templates, of the grub configurations. Now
Excuse me, sir.
templates of the grub configuration. Okay, so now what? We can edit it directly the templates of grub configurations. Now where is the templates of grub configuration? So it is under the etc grub.d directory. From etc grub.d directory. Now here in that directory we have a file which is 40 underscore custom, which is available as for us to make a custom configurations. So where we can add our password configurations also. So for that what we will do, we will open the file from etc grub.d directory. We will open 40 underscore custom file. This is the template. Now under the template, what configurations we will add? It's very simple. We will add set space super users is equal to in this template file. We will add the options like set super user to configure, to set the super user first. So first we set the super user. Super user, that means we want to configure the user who can edit the kernel parameters through grub. So here you will mention the name of the user. Now you can mention any name. For example, I am mentioning root. Then next what we will do, next we will configure the password for that user. So I will give command password with the username and then whatever password we want to give. And after that what we will do, we will save the file. Now after saving the file, it will not be updated into the main configuration file. So first we have to update it into the main configuration file. Whatever changes we do in these templates, they will not be updated into the main configuration file. So whenever we do changes in these templates, so we have to do update into the main configuration file. So after this, After editing the template, then what we have to do, we have to update the changes into main grub config file. So next what we'll do, we'll run the command to update. So for updating the configuration, we have a command grub2-mk config. This command will generate the output of the latest changes what we have in the template. So by the help of those templates, it will generate the output of the main configuration file. So we will redirect the output to the main configuration file so that it will overwrite everything in that file and make the new changes in that file. So the grub configuration file is under the boot partition, under the grub2 directory, and the name of the file is grub.cfg. Now after this, our main configuration file will be updated and then your password of grub is set. Let's do that in our system now. Okay, so in this our system, what I will do, I will open the file under the grub.d directory. We have all these files. So in this we have this custom file for editing, for custom changes. So I will edit the file 40_custom. Now in this I will add set super users is equal to the name of the user and then password for that user and whatever the password. And after that what I will do, I will save the file. Now the changes has not been updated into the main configuration file. So what I will do, I will update it with this grub2-mk config command. And I will redirect the output to the main configuration file, which is under boot, grub2 and grub.cfg. So the changes is now updated. Now we'll test the password. We'll reboot the system and then we will test it. Now at this time I will stop the kernel. So after stopping the timer, when you select the kernel to edit and you press E there, then it will ask what? First it is asking username. So username we have decided as root. Then it is asking the password. The password is 1234. And now you can edit the kernel. So it is now allowing us to edit because I provide the right password. If I provide the wrong password, then it will not allow me to edit anything. And now one time when I give the password, now for exiting from here I will press escape back to the menu. Now this time again when I press E, it is not asking the password because I have already provided the password. If I reboot again, then it will ask the password. Now when I press E, it asks the password. Now if I give a wrong name or wrong password, let's say I say user1 as a user and the password is ABC. So it is not allowing us and it is going back to the menu. You can start the system by selecting the kernel, but you cannot edit it. You cannot edit this. If you want to edit, you have to provide the correct grub password. But if you want to start the system, you can just select the kernel and press enter, it will start. But you cannot edit anything. Now if you are not able to edit anything, that means you are not able to that means you're not able to do anything else, like you are not able to change the password of root or any other user. Not only the root, you can change password for any other user. And you know what hackers do? Basically they will not change the password for root user, because if you change, then you will know that a root user will know that somebody has changed my password. So basically what if they get the access, what they do, they will create a separate user, and what they do, they will give a admin privilege to that user, so that nobody knows that they have made some changes there. So we don't want them to have access or anyone to have access. So what we can assign password on Grub, but the password which we have assigned is actually plain text. Plain text, that means anyone can see the password. If suppose I am logged in here, I have logged in here, and if suppose I leave my terminal for a 5 minutes only, or 2-3 minutes, so anyone can just run the command cat etc grub.d, and under that 40.custom, and he can see what is the password, what is the username, and what is the password. This is the way of assigning the password, but the password is not secure. So we should have a secure password for Grub also. Now secure means what? It should not be plain text. Just like root password, which is not a plain text password, it is the hash password. We should also have a plain text hash password for the root user also. Now for securing the password, for assigning the secure password, we need a secure hash for our password first, and then we can use that password hash to use that password hash in this configuration file. So for that, first you have to do what? You have to generate the hash for your password. So for that, what you have a command grub2 mk password. Now this command will generate the hash for your Grub, and the password hash will be pbkdf2. The hash is this pbkd hashing algorithm. So first, when you run the command, it wants you to enter the password which you like. So whatever the password you like, I will say ABCD. It says retype the password ABCD, and then it provides the hash for that password which we have given. It is not assigning the password, it is not doing anything, it is just giving a hash. Hash is this, it is saying that pbkdf2 hash for your password is this. So this is the hash for our password. Now we got the hash. Now we can use this hash in this configuration template file. So we can copy the hash from here, then we can open the custom file. Now in the custom file, instead of using this simple password, I can use that hash. So I will remove this. Now when I am using the hash, then I have to explain the machine, explain the system, explain the Grub that I am using this hash password. For that we have to mention underscore pbkdf2. So I am using this pbkdf2 password for root, and the password is this. So just like we did it for the simple password, we did for the hash password also. So first we generated the hash, then we copy the hash from there, and then we come here in the file, and then we set password underscore pbkdf password. That is what I'm explaining it, that I'm saying that I'm using this hash password for this user, and then this is the password hash. Simple. Now you will save it And again you have to update your changes into the main configuration file. And then it will be updated. So now the password is ABCD, and if anyone try to see the password, if just anyone try to just get the password from the file, they will not understand. They will not see that what is the password. They can see the username is root, but if they try to see the password, it says this, and nobody can reverse it because it is hash. Hashing is not reversible, and even you can see what algorithm it is using here, SHA in 512 bit. So nobody can change this password now. Nobody can access the, or nobody can reverse the password. So this is what we have, a secure password for Grub. So previously I was used 123 as a normal plain text password, but now what? I changed it, and I changed it as a secure password ABC. So when you try to edit now, if I give root as a user and if I give password 1234, it won't take, because now the password is ABCD. So when I try to edit, I have to give the password. Now it is using hash password, the password which is secure and which is hashed. Now we have these two options, like we have this option to edit the configuration template file for a normal password or even a secure password, hashed password. So we can do that by editing the template. Now previously we have only this option, but now in RHEL 7 we have an option also that we can edit what we can add a password by using a configuration file. We have a command for that. Basically we don't have the, we can even configure this by using this configuration template, or if you don't want, then you can do it by using the command. So there is a specific command also for adding the password to Grub. So you don't have to do it all these things manually. You can do what? We can directly use the command to add the password into our Grub. So we can also add the password on Grub without editing these Grub config files. So for this, in RHEL 7 we have a command. So we have a command directly for doing this, and we have a command, but it will still not edit the main configuration file. Remember what we are doing till now. When we change anything in the configuration templates, we have to update into the main configuration file like this, because when your system boots, it can only have an access of this file. It will not have an access of any other thing. So what we do, what we can add the password in the Grub by using a command, but command will not update this file. So how it will work? Because the configuration for password, for configuration for using the password of command is already there, is already it is already in the main configuration file. So by default we have already the configuration for this. So the command, when we use the command to add the password, it will not change the main configuration file because the configuration for using the password is already there. So what it will do here, I will show you this. So it is already there in the grub configuration file and it is generating from, I will tell you, it is by default generating, and it is generating from the template. The template name is 01 user. This is the template which generate this configuration for adding the password from the command. Let's see that in that template what we have. When we check the main configuration file for the grub under the boot grub.cfg. Now here, if you see here, the template called, which is under etc grub.d, so 01 underscore users. This is the template which has a configuration for using the password from the command. So it has an script there. If you see, it is updating the script, it is generating the script here in the main configuration file, and it is coming from this template. It is already there, it is by default there, we have not added it, it is already by default there. So what it is adding here is this script, and this script is saying what? It is basically checking the user.con.cfg file for the password. If this file, then source this file. That means if the file is exist in the location. Now where is the location? It is under the boot directory, under the grub directory. So if the directory has a file, this file have, if it is existed, then it will use that file from here. Now by default the file is not there. The file will be created when we use the command. So when we use the command to assign the password, so command will do what? It will not edit this file, it will only create this file under the grub2 directory. So when this file executes, when our system file execute, this grub file execute, grub configuration main file, it will check that whether the file is exist or not, and if it is existing, then it will use the file for it, and then it will check in the file whether it is having a password stored or not. So now if the password is there in the file, then what it will do, it will set the super user as root, and this it will do export. Now this means what? It is actually exporting the variable. This command is setting the variable, and this command export is exporting the variable, so that it will be permanent, almost permanent. And then what? It is using this password underscore pbkdf and the name of the user, and instead of we use what, we directly type the password, copy paste the password, but here it is using the variable. It is using this variable as a password here. So basically what it will do, we don't change the main configuration file. The main configuration file is already having the configuration for using the password from this file. It has already the configuration to use the file for the password. So when we use a command, then what it will do, it will just create the file with the password. Let me show you that. So first I will do what? I will remove the password which we have assigned in this custom file. So I will remove this configuration first, so that this password will no longer used. I will delete these lines, and then I will save, and I will generate the configuration to main configuration file, so that it will change. Now again I remove the password of grub. That means now we don't have a password of grub. So if I see that, let's check with booting. I will do reboot again, so for checking that whether we are having a password or not. So I try to edit, and now it is not asking any password because I removed. Now I will do what? I will use a command for assigning the password. So the configuration is already there in the file. We just do what? We just create a file. So that configuration is saying that you should get the password from this location, boot grub2, and under that we have these files, but there is no file called user.cfg. So it will get the file from here, and our password command will do what? It will create the file there, and then it will use the password. It will use the command for the file for the password. So for creating the password, we use grub2, and we have lots of command with this grub2. If I press 2-time tab, you can see that there is lots of other commands are also available which do this. So I will use what? Set password, grub2 set password. Now when I press enter, it is asking the password which I want to set. For example, I want to set XYZ. Confirm XYZ. Now what it did here, it created the file under the grub2 directory under the boot. So when I check the directory, when I list the directory now, we can see that file here. It was not showing previously. Now that the file is created. And what is inside this file? So we can check what is inside the file. Under the file we will see the password hash, and here you can see the variable is setting here. This is the variable name, and is equal to the variable is this password. So this variable it will use, and the configuration template is what? Which is using this is etc grub.d 01 users, and you can see here it is having a script created already, and it is already by default there, which is by default under the main configuration file. So we don't have to update the main configuration file after running the command to generate the password. We don't have to edit it into main configuration file because it is already there. It is already saying that please check this file. Now it will check the file, and it will see the file is there, and it will see the file, then it will use the file, and when it use the file, so it will check the variable from that file. The variable name is grub2 password, and this is the variable under the file. And what is the value of that variable is this, the password. So then it will do what? Then it will set the super user root, and then export that user value, and then it will set the password for the root, and it will use that variable for it, and then it will do what? Finish. So this is the script, and it will do what? It will update the password for root from this configuration file. Now when I reboot, I set the password as XYZ, so it will ask that password for me. So now when I press E, now it is asking username again, root, and what is the password? XYZ. So this is how we can configure the password for root user for the grub by using the command grub2 set password. So generate password file, command is grub2 set password, and after that you have to do what? Enter the password and retype the password, and done. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. The password is created. Now we have configured the password for Grub, and now nobody can edit the kernel and nobody can crack the password for root user. Now, what was the problem? The problem was we forgot the password for root. That means it is not like easy that you just forgot the password, you just lost your memory. It is not like that. Maybe the administrator is not available, or maybe which the user who configure the password is not available, or something like that. In that only case you will not have a password for root. In other cases it is very hard that you forgot the password for root user, your main administrator for your server. So basically you're forgetting the password for root, or you're losing the password for root. So the person who assigned the password for root, he also did what? He may also have secured the system, and he may also have assigned the password for grub. That means if you lose a password for the root user, that also means you may also have lose the password of grub. That means if you try to reset the password for root, that means you may find that the grub is also having a password. So if you want to reset the password for root, so maybe you find that grub is also have a password. So now what? Now you have to reset the password for grub also. Otherwise you are not able to access your system and you have to reinstall everything. So what we'll do when you don't have a password for grub also? That means your kernel, your grub is having a password and you don't know the password. Then what you do? Now, when you have a password on root user, which is you forgot, and also you have a password on grub, that also you have forgot. That means now if you forgot or if you lose password of root user and you want to reset it, but you also have password on grub, which also you lose, or you do not know. Now what? Now in this case you need to break the password of grub also. So in this case you need to break the password of grub also. So now how you will do that now? Now what you will do here, if you really want to break the password for grub, so basically you can do that also. So what you can do that also. So how we can do this now? So for this, what we have to do, we have to follow another process, another steps. Now what we'll do, steps 2, reset the password of grub. Or even with this step, what we can do here, We can basically do these steps also for doing the troubleshooting. Troubleshooting, that means this is the last option you have for doing the troubleshooting. For doing the troubleshooting, that means if suppose your system is not working, what situations you have. Suppose your system is not starting by the normal way. So you have two kernels first to start your system. First is the normal kernel, the other one is your rescue kernel. Now in the case if your first kernel is not starting, then what? Let me. So when you booting your system and it is not starting, you have two kernels already there in your system. Suppose this is the normal one, this is the rescue one. Both are actually safe. So if suppose this kernel is not starting, which is having some problem or corrupted, then you can start your system with the rescue kernel. Now if it is not starting in this also, if this is also not working, maybe somebody has deleted these kernels. Remember, these kernels files are located under the boot directory, and it is kept there, and if somebody has a permission, then they can delete the file also. So maybe suppose this is not there and somebody has deleted it, then what you can do? So you can do what? You can start your system in rescue mode. You can start it in the emergency mode. You can go for editing here, provide the password, and then what? You can go for editing mode here by doing that, by adding the option systemd dot unit is equal to rescue dot target. With this option you can start your system in emergency mode, and then you will try to solve your problem. And if it is still not solving the problem, if it is still not starting in this kernel, then what you can do for rd.break. Then you can go for rd.break option. Now this option we also use for resetting the password for root, but it is not only for resetting the password for root, because when you go there you will get the access of your whole file system. That means if your any file is corrupted or something wrong with your files, then you can see, you can verify, or you can try to fix the problem. So this is also for troubleshooting. So this is also you can use for troubleshooting other problems, not only the password for root. But if suppose this one is not working also, now this one is not working, that means your system is completely lost. Then you have the other option, which is, we can say, also the last option, which you can use to just save your data. Or maybe you just want to save your data, or maybe suppose you feel like it can still be fixed. You know, you have installed some application and you did some configurations, you know that you have done some configuration which is making a problem. After that you restart and it is not starting, then you know that when I reconfigure that thing or remove that configurations, then it can be fixed. So what we can do, we can reconfigure that things if we remember it. But that last option is to save your system, like save your data. If it is not possible to save your configuration, save your system, maybe suppose you have deleted the kernel, you're not able to recover it. If it is deleted, then it will not start. So you can reinstall the kernel, new kernel, otherwise it will not start. So what you can do now, you can recover you can just take the backup of your data. So that last option is for that, and that last option is also for resetting the grub password also. So with that option you can also reset the password of grub. Now what is that last option? That last option is to boot your machine, boot your system from your DVD. So for that what you do, attach the DVD first, insert the DVD and go to the BIOS setting and select boot from DVD. So first option what you will do, so the first step you will do is to insert the installation DVD. installation media, your CD, DVD, or even your flash drive. And then go to BIOS and select first boot as your DVD or flash, whatever. So boot from your DVD. Now when you have an option for installation option, so after when you see the installation option, in installation options you will select troubleshooting. You will select the troubleshooting. Troubleshooting option. And from that troubleshooting option you will select it is the installation options menu. From there you will select the troubleshooting option. Now from troubleshooting option you have multiple other options, and in those multiple other options you have one option for doing the from this troubleshooting. From there you will select rescue installation. You will select rescue installation. Let me show you that. What I will do, I will reboot and will go to the BIOS. And here I will go to boot menu and I will select my first boot device as a CD-ROM, and then I will save and exit. Now it will boot from my DVD, installation DVD, and it is booting from my installation DVD, and now I have the menu for installation. Now from here I have these two options for installation, first two option. The third option is for troubleshooting, so I will select the troubleshooting and press enter. Then here I have other troubleshooting installation option. Then I have rescue a Red Hat installation system. Here I have rescue option. We have an option for memory test. If you are having a problem with your hardware memory, RAM or even a processor memory, then you can test this, and you can start your system from your already installed machine, already installed operating system, or you can go back to the main menu. But I want to go for rescue, and it is saying here, if you see down there, what it is saying that if the system will not boot, this let you access files and edit config files to try to get it booting again. So this option is basically for rescuing you when other options are failed. When those other options are not working, then you can go from this rescue. Now this one also do what? It can also allow you to remove the password for Grub also. So what I will do here, I will select this one and press enter. Now what it will do, it will not start our main file system, main installation. It will do what? It will start the system from DVD. So it has its own small version of OS in the DVD. So it will start the OS from the DVD, and our main operating system, it will try to find it. If suppose it is working, somehow it is working, then it will find our main installation, and when it is find our main installation, it will kept it into the another directory. That is what now here it is saying here. It is saying that you are in the rescue. You are in the rescue, and the rescue environment will now attempt to find your Linux installation, and when it found, then it will mount it under the directory, and it will mount it under this directory, under mnt, under the sys image. Now where this mnt is coming from our DVD. It is loading from our DVD. It is loading our DVD's file system, and it is starting our small file system, a small OS we can say, from the DVD for rescue. So it will create, under the MNT it will create sys image directory, and in this directory it will try to mount our main file system if it gets. If suppose our system is that corrupt that it is not able to get that also, then you will have to mount it manually. It is not like it is deleted. It is still there, but because of the wrong configuration, maybe our fs type file is not correct. Fs type decides that which file will mount on which directory. So if it is corrupted, deleted or something, then we have to manually mount. It will not found automatically here in this system. So we can do it manually also. And in that case, maybe you lose the operating system, and you have to just take a backup of your files. So you can then make any changes required required to your system. So if it finds our main system, it will mount it here, and it will give you access to those files and those all the files and all things. So you can edit those things to recover your system. It says choose one to proceed with this step, or you can choose to mount your file system read only instead of read write. So you can also choose to mount it read only way, so that you just don't want to edit, you just want to see. And if some reason this process does not work, then choose 3 to skip the directly to a shell. That means if suppose it is not able to find our main system, then still it can boot, and it can show you our it can boot, and it can give you the command line shell. And then we can do what? We can manually mount that partitions if it is not automatically finding. So we have these 3 options. Continue, we'll go for finding it. And if you want to have a read only, then you can go for read only by using number 2. Or you just want to skip. Suppose you have tried 1, failed, you tried 2, failed, then you can skip the step, and you can just go to the shell, and then you can try to mount it manually. So both options you have. Otherwise you have, if suppose you have come here mistakenly, unintentionally, then you can just quit from here. Don't go further, just quit from here. So what I will select here, I will go for normal, because our system is properly working. I just forgot the password of grub, so I will not go for any changes. So I want to change it, so I want to write the file, I want to edit the file, so I will go for read write option, and I will go for 1, and I will not skip because our system is easily working. So I will go for option 1 here. And now it is trying to find our system. And now what it is saying here, rescue mount, your system has been mounted under this. Because it has found our system, it is mounted under this directory. And what it is saying, if you would like to make your system the root environment, then you can run this command. Chroot command we have already used when we try to break the password for root, when we load our system from sysroot directory to our main system. So from here also our CD DVD is running the system, and if we want to load our main system, then we can load from this command chroot, and this time our file system is mounted under mnt sys image. Now your system is mounted under this directory, and please press enter to get the shell. So now we want to get the shell, so we will press just enter, and here we have a shell. Now this shell is coming from the DVD. If you check ls/, if you list the root file system, this all file system is of your DVD. This is your DVD file system. Our file system is mounted under this mnt directory. So if I list /mnt, I have this two directory there where we have sys image. So when I list sys image, I have all these directories, which is our main directories, and we have a read write option. So we have read write option, that means we can edit anything here. Now if we want to edit anything, if we can edit anything, that means we can edit the file of that grub password, and we can edit, and we can do what, we can just remove the password. Remember, because it was hashed, so we cannot see the password, so we can remove the password. We can see that file now. So our system is under mnt sys image, and under the mnt sys image we have a directory boot, and under that we have a grub2 directory where we have a password file directory user. Password file is user.cfg. So if I check this file, I can see the password. Now it is hashed, so I cannot reverse it, but what I can do, I can remove this file. So I will use rm-rf from mnt sys image. Under that our main system is boot grub2, and this is the file. So I just remove the file. Done. I remove the password for grub. Now there is no file, and the script will not find the file, no password will be there. And if even your password is under that directory, under that main configuration file, so from here it is not required to edit the main configuration file, but we cannot generate the file from the template, so we can directly edit the main configuration file from here. We can just go to the file by using vi, and we can find where is the password, and just we can delete the line for the password. Right now we don't have any because we have removed. So if suppose it is written in the file, if it is in the custom file here, in the custom file, so you can just find the line here and delete the lines. Done, the password is removed. So just like I delete this file, or I can edit this file, you can edit any configuration file from your main system, and you can do what, you can reset, you can try to recover your system. So this is the last option you have for recovery. Otherwise, if you feel like it is not able to recover, then you can just take the backup. You can connect your flash, you can connect your external drives, and you can just copy your important files, and then you will reboot your system, reinstall your system. And if your file system is not mounting automatically, then you can mount it manually. You can check by using fdisk command that these are the partitions you have, and you can do what, you can manually mount that. You can create any directory, and you can mount those partition. You can try to mount those partition manually. And if suppose in case your grub is not working, sometimes your grub can also be corrupted. So if your grub is corrupted, that also you can fix it from here. What you can do, you can run a command grub2 install. This command is used to fix your kernel grub, to reinstall the grub. That means already we are running from the DVD which contained your copy of the grub. So what you can do, you can reinstall the grub. You have to mention that which partition or which hard disk we have to install the grub. Our grub is not corrupted, so we will not do that. But this is the way you can do what, you can reinstall the grub also. So this is the last option you have for resetting or recovering your system. In case if it is not recovering, take a backup, reinstall. And for reinstalling the grub also, you have this option where you can run this command to reinstall the grub. Then If you just want to reset your password of root, then also you can do what? You can just change the root file system by using this chroot command. Chroot mnt sysimage, because you see the password command will work here. I try to change the password for root, but it will not able to change, because what? Because the root is the root which is running is from the DVD, it is not from our main system. So first you have to change the chroot, change the root file system, then you can just change your password. Now you see the shell is changed from sh to bash. Now our main file system is loaded. Now this is our main file system. Now I can just directly change the password for root. So no need to remove the password for grub if you can change the password of root directly. ABC at 123. ABC at 123. Changed. So this is the last troubleshooting feature we have, which is we can boot it from DVD and reset the password. Now the last thing, whatever you do here, you recover your machine, you reset, reconfigure the configuration files, you remove the grub password, you reset the root password, whatever you do here, after doing everything, when you want to exit it from here, then again you have to do the last step. That is compulsory. Previously when we tried rd.break and we go into the initial ramfs, what we did, we created the auto relabel file. That is what we did. It was for resetting the labels of SLinux. Now this time what we'll do, we will remove the auto relabel file. So whenever you go to this rescue environment, when you're getting out of here, the file is already there. If you check under the slash, all the hidden files, the file auto relabel is there. It is already there. So what I have to do here, I have to remove the file this time. This time what I will do, I will remove the file. Otherwise again SLinux will not able to, it will prevent our system to boot. It will stop, it will corrupt, it will wait, it will corrupt, it will just reload, and it will just not start. So what I will do, this is the last step I will do here. I will remove this auto relabel file. Now remember, our main file system is loaded, so it is going under slash. If you have not loaded the main file system, if you have not done this chroot, then it will be under mnt sysimage directory. But you have to remove this auto relabel, and I removed this. After that, we'll give exit to go back to our DVD, and exit to get out from this rescue environment. And now it is still detecting the DVD, so I will select to boot from my installation. And now if I try to edit the kernel, there is no grub password because I removed, and also I have changed the password from XYZ, I have changed it to ABC. So these are the troubleshooting options we have, and if we like to do the troubleshooting, then we can do it. So we can do it by, like, if your system is not starting, you want to change, like somebody has corrupted your fstep file, then also your system will not start. If suppose you are having a problem, then again your system will not start. Somebody's deleted your kernel file, initial ramfs, then again your system will not start. ABC at 1, 2, 3. And now your system is up and running with no password of grub, and also it is not having a password for the I have changed the password for root user. And one more important command is journal ctl to check the logs. So if your system is not booting properly, then you should check the booting logs. It logs the boot, logs the journal.ctl do what? Logs from the last boot when you start the system. So you can check it by using this journal.ctl command. -b is to check. It will show you the last boot logs. So if you are facing any problem, then you can use this also, and it will show you from last boot. If you just want to see error, oops, it is just showing you what? The boot from the logs from the last boot. So checking the log is important for doing the troubleshooting, and this also you can do in the rescue environment. One more log file is there which has a boot log under the where log directory. Under the where log directory you will see there is a file called dmesg. dmesg, MESG. You have two files. Always you will see two files, dmesg and dmesg old. This old file will have an information about the previous boot, and this file has an information about the current boot. So whenever your system boots, it will generate the logs and it will keep into this dmesg file. But next time when it boots, so the current file become the old file and it will create the new file for the current log. And you can check the file, you can check the log by directly using the cat or vi command by using this dmesg for the current boot. It shows all the information and it is lots of information, or you can check the old file also. And if suppose you just want to see the current file, then you have a command for that dmesg. This is the command which shows the log directly. You can check the log directly. And this command you can use with grep to filter out some options, like you want to see what? You want to see error. There is no error. Or you can see like I want to see the information about so these are the logs for the Bluetooth. So this is the logs of related to this service or this. So you can find anything, like any service you want to find. Like for example, I want to see the logs related to system D, how system D works at the booting time. So you can see when it is started, when it is running, and what it do. So you can see the system D is running here with these options. Then it detected that this is the virtualization of VMware. It detected this architecture. Then it runs the initialization of RAM disk. Then it sets the host name for the machine. Then it reaches the targets for the local file system. Then it is starting the local file system. That means it is loading the main file system into our system from the RAM disk. Now RAM disk it is removed and our main file system is loading. Then it reached the swap. Then it is starting the swap files. Then it is starting the timer, starting this, slicing that, then udev control sockets and all these, and then it is doing all these things, and it is setting the virtual consoles here. It is setting the kernel variables. It is setting the journal service, system slice, create static devs, receive the signal for terminating the process ID 1, then successfully loaded the SE Linux policies, IP tables, and then relabeled this dev to run, and then received the request for flush runtime journal, and it is stopping it. So this is what system D do. So this is what the logs of the booting time. So you can check these logs also for troubleshooting to just find out the problem. But for resolving the problem, you have to go to, either you can go for the rescue environment, rescue.target, or you can go for rd.break. And if it is not working, then you can just boot your machine from the DVD, installation media, and go for rescue environment. So these are the options we have for troubleshooting our Linux RHEL7 Linux boot problems. Whether your system is having a problem of any configurations, or you're forgetting the passwords for root or grub, or your system is completely unbootable, so you can just take a backup by using the rescue environment.